Ark 2, the highly anticipated sequel to 2017's action-adventure survival video game, recently had its trailer revealed, and of course, it didn't take long for fans to go wild over it, just like the many dinosaurs in the game. If you're also a fan who can't wait to learn everything this trailer revealed, rest assured, we're going to cover all that and more in this video. First off, what can you expect the game to be like? Ever since Ark 2's initial reveal back in 2020, the information we've gotten for it has been quite slim, but despite the lack of clarity, hype for this game has been unreal. Fans have been going nuts, and now it's ranked as one of the most anticipated Xbox Series X games, which is a pretty big deal. But after such a long period of silence, a new trailer was very much a must, and the one we got at the Microsoft and Bethesda showcase gave us a ton of juicy details to keep us fed for a while. Basically acting as a re-reveal for the game, this trailer gives us a bit more context to the story and the world of Ark 2. The trailer opens with a monologue from Mika, who you might remember as the girl from the first trailer. She's going to be the daughter of Santiago, Vin Diesel's character. So if you were wondering just why this world has a weird mix of futuristic technology coupled with prehistoric animals, you might finally get your answer. The trailer reveals that this was due to a war in the past, and life is now an absolute struggle for the survivors. It definitely seems like the story will be a big part of Ark 2. Fans of the game that wanted to learn more context about its world will surely be feasting when Ark 2 comes out. But of course, there's a lot more to chew on. The game's iconic dinosaurs and action aspects will be making a return, and the biggest possible hint of this is the shot of Santiago and Mika riding on the back of a massive dinosaur from the trailer. The dinosaur is covered in armor and a saddle, so yeah, it seems we're going to be riding on these things in Ark 2. What could go wrong? Next, will the gameplay be any different from the first game? While the story elements are cool and all, a lot of what we remember from Ark is the open sandbox adventuring, and it looks like that's still going to be a big part of Ark 2. Even with a stronger focus on story, the game is going to retain the sandbox nature of the first one. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Though the sequel definitely looks more cinematic than the first one. The scene of Santiago and Mika from the new trailer makes that pretty clear. We fully expect the game to carry over the systems of the first one. That of course includes all the survival and crafting that fans have come to love about it. Players will have to survive in this dinosaur-filled world while they scavenge for resources, use recipes, discover, upgrade, and build. You know, all that fun stuff we're used to by now. Combat may also draw quite heavily from the first Ark, although now with the blend of futuristic technology also being in the mix, we might be able to get our hands on some epic new guns or bows that we couldn't before. The combat for the second game is reportedly taking an approach closer to the Dark Souls games. This means players will likely be able to lock on enemies, dodge their attacks, and use combos and special moves. Honestly, Dark Souls games need no introduction, at least when it comes to combat. So any game trying to bring that over is a welcome change in our book. We're also expecting to see plenty of the good old RPG elements like leveling up and unlocking skill trees. Hey, it wouldn't be an Ark game without it. Finally, when is Ark 2 going to release? If you've been keeping up with the game since its 2020 trailer, then chances are you feel like you've been waiting since prehistoric times. Sadly, it seems like we'll be waiting a bit more before we can jump into the dinosaur-filled world of Ark 2. The game's release date has been pushed back to 2023 by Studio Wildcard. Back in 2020, at the Game Awards when Ark 2 was first announced, Microsoft had confirmed that the game's launch was slated for 2022. But since then, not only have we received very little news about the game's development, but now it's been delayed by a whole year. That's a dinosaur-sized bummer, although it's not too surprising. The impact of the COVID-19 epidemic on game development pipelines has been huge, though we're hoping Studio Wildcard has been able to deal with these internal issues and is working on finally releasing Ark 2. So far, Ark 2 has been marketed as a console launch exclusive for the Xbox Series X. This means that if you don't have the console or a PC, you're out of luck. While this game might eventually make its way to PS5, so far there's been no confirmation on this. The fact that it's called a console exclusive launch is giving some PS5 owners hope though. It could mean that after some time has passed, eventually the game will be available on all platforms, but we won't be holding our breaths. With so many amazing exclusives that Sony puts out for the PS5 though, it feels nice to finally have the shoe on the other foot. Other news. Firstly, Multiversus crosses 10 million players before it even comes out. If you thought Warner Brothers' new action brawler game was going to slow down anytime soon, you'd be wrong. The fighting game, Multiversus, has already crossed 10 million players. What makes this all the more amazing is that the game isn't even out of beta yet, so it's 10 million people playing an unfinished version of the game and seemingly loving it. The number was recently reported by Tracker.gg, a data collection website that gets its info directly from the game, so it's likely that the actual number is pretty close to 10 million. That is, if it hasn't already crossed even that. Honestly, we wouldn't be too surprised if it did. Next, new Hearthstone deck can kill players in just one turn. Hearthstone, Blizzard's Warcraft card game, released its new expansion, Murder at Castle Nathria, recently, and as with every expansion, there's a new deck that's causing chaos among players. This time, it's Denathrius Druid, a deck that makes use of a new card released in the expansion, Sire Denathrius. Denathrius deals about 5 points of damage when he's played, but each friendly minion that dies while you've got the Sire in hand will make him deal 1 extra damage, and you can probably see what combo is brewing up here. Apparently, the deck's gameplay allows players to empower the Sire Denathrius card over the course of a match by summoning hordes and hordes of minions and sending them to their deaths. After a couple of turns, the Sire becomes so strong that it often only takes 1 turn to bring your opponent's health total to 0, and if a single Sire isn't enough, you can often combine it with other cards like Bran Bronzebeard to get double the damage. Talk about a killer card. Fans of Hearthstone have been quick to criticize the deck and are calling for it to get nerfed on social media. So basically, just a regular Tuesday for Hearthstone fans. Finally, Netflix reveals that less than 1% of its subscribers are playing their games. If you have given some of Netflix's different games a try, congrats! You're among the lucky 1% to have done so. A new report reveals that pretty much no one from their 200 million subscribers cares about Netflix's games. Netflix began offering games as a part of its subscription service back in November, and since then they've added over 25 mobile games to the platform, some of which aren't actually half bad, especially when you consider that none of these games contain any ads and microtransactions that are basically overflowing in other mobile game titles. It's almost a mystery just why no one seems to care about them. Apptopia, an app analytics company whose data was used for this report, claims that at most 1.7 million people play Netflix's games daily. While that might sound good, keep in mind that's a fraction of the total 200 million user base, and considering that even lame mobile games are able to boast such numbers nowadays, for that to be the total for Netflix's entire collection is a tad bit sad. Netflix COO Greg Peters told investors last year that their expansion into the world of gaming was focused on the long-term prize. So even with their games being an absolute flop right now, Netflix might be looking at the bigger picture. We're not exactly sure what plan they have to win over the other 99% of their users, but maybe they've got something in the works. That's a wrap for this video. Are you excited to finally play Ark 2 in 2023? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.